Men going their own way and pick up artists. Why can't we all just get along? So this will be a video reply to Giga, and I'm gonna address some of the points he makes in the video, which is labeled really nicely, PUAs are retarded, don't be retarded. But the first thing I want to do is, what I've done already in my other PUA video, is let the PUAs kind of speak for themselves. So this is a direct quote from How Do You Get Women You Desire into Bed by Ross Jeffries. I'm gonna just read it out, and you say that PUAs don't listen. Well, do you actually listen to PUAs? Let me read what it says in this book. Chapter 3. A great deal of success and power with women has nothing to do with how you act and feel about them, but a lot to do with how you act and feel about yourself. What we're really talking about here is self-respect. Plenty of men who wouldn't take a bit of crap from another guy turn into downright spineless wimps when it comes to women. Whether they are reliving old dramas with mommy they couldn't please as children, or are scared for some other reason, they put the woman first. Other guys have a slightly different problem. They may not take any crap from a woman, but getting laid is so damn important to them that they lose sight of other priorities. In a sense, it loses all the fun aspects and gets to be a compulsion. Guys like this maybe win the battles, but they're definitely losing the war. Women may be nice additions to your life, and if you find the right one, you might even choose to make her a part of the center of yours, but a life spent doing nothing but chasing women is a pretty stupid one. Okay? Straight from the horse's mouth, right? And this is what kind of annoys me. When Barbarossa and people start attacking PUAs, it just seems to me that they have absolutely no clue what PUA is really all about, either because they haven't spent time in the community, or they just were unlucky enough to get all the really, the really bad side of PUAs. To put simply, what PUA is really all about is a skill that you learn through practice, through repetition, just like any other skill, through having a proper mindset in the end that structures your language in a way that when you communicate with women for the outcome of attracting her, you have a much better chance. I like to relate it in terms of martial arts. So even if a guy is born, without any arms or without any legs, doing martial arts will still learning like a system that is suited for them to learn how to fight is still going to give them a slight chance, a better chance if they didn't do anything at all. And it's the same with PUA and seduction. Doing something is just going to increase your chance at attracting a woman. So when you say that what if a person is born really fat or ugly, and that's fair enough. Of course that's going to affect a guy, but there's been plenty of fat and really ugly guys who have managed to use the system to at least attract somebody, and many have attracted incredibly hot looking women as well. And you may or may not want to believe it, but I can tell you that I've been in this stuff myself, and I know that it's true. I mean, when you get down to it, it's not super duper duper hard to attract the right woman. Most of it is just a matter of finding the woman that's kind of more open, because there are a lot of bitches around here, but mostly it's about like a numbers game, but there's skill as well involved. And that's what I really don't understand. That's why I think PUA is such a good system, since it's just talking to women. It doesn't cost any money to walk up and talk to somebody. It's not like you're going off to war because you want to impress somebody. It's the complete opposite. And you might not like this aspect of PUA, but a PUA is more likely to be the guy who is sleeping with the guy's wife who's going off to war. And well, again, PUA is just a skill, and what people choose to do with the skill is up to them. So you can't just blame the skill on what some people do. And there are fucking assholes out there, and there are some assholes who grab onto some of the ideas here, but in general, the assholes already know some of the stuff, or they do it unconsciously. And what is better? Is it better to let these assholes keep dating women, and when the assholes are the only ones who can create these sort of emotions in women, what ends up happening is women think, oh, I only date assholes, because that's all they get used to. They don't, realize that there are men out there who can create attraction in them and not take any of their shit. But at the same time, I'm gonna be complete and utter dicks about it. And you talk about how PUA is about fitting into society, which could be nothing further from the truth. I mean, if I went up to my friends and started to talk to them about how I fractionate women, or how I structure my language to access those deeper parts of the woman's mind, those parts where she holds her dreams, fantasies, and desires, what would people think of me? Would that really be the normal thing to do? It's some of the stuff I've done through learning PUA is completely out there. It's as out of the box as you can get in social interactions. Which brings me to my next point. See, I see there's two ways to control somebody. One of the ways to control, and one of the ways feminists especially influence men, is of course by making them do stuff. So, you have to take care of my kids, you have to do this, you gotta be a man and stand up for me and take care of me. And this is one way to influence somebody. But the other way they influence, and it's so blatant in feminist language and what they do, is to stop men from attempting to talk to women, or stop men from having relationships with them as well. And you gotta watch out for that. That's the other way you're being manipulated. Because what I mean is, if you go out and say, oh look, I'm not gonna talk to anybody anymore, that's it, I'm not talking to women at all. Like, you're still being influenced by the feminists to not talk to women. If you want to look at a woman, I say look at a woman. If you're walking down the street and you want to talk to a woman, talking to her is going against what feminism wants you to do. See, feminism wants you to not talk to women at all. It wants you to not approach women, not talk to women in elevators, if you remember that story. So by talking to women, you're actually saying fuck you to feminism, which is why I think PUA is fantastic. It lets you be open and free, and I really don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, I don't pay any money. I guess some people, pay for clubs, but I don't go to clubs. You don't need to go to clubs. If you read the PUA literature out there, at the core of it, they all say the same thing, and that is that you don't need any money. You don't need to spend shit on a woman, and nor should you, to be good at it. Yes, it helps if you rock up in a limo, or they're not gonna lie, of course it helps. Every little bit helps. Good clothes help. A nice style helps. A good haircut helps. Fucking makeup might help you. But it's not necessary. It should not be necessary at all. Another issue people have with pickup in general is that they feel that it's manipulating. It's manipulating the woman, and I don't want to do it. But a good view to have, and this is the view I have, is that and it's the truth, I believe it's the truth, that all communication is manipulation. Now here I am expressing myself, and you were expressing yourself in your video, but on some level, you've attempted to manipulate people into changing their point of view. And you can manipulate people logically, reasonably, unconsciously, hypnotically, or whatnot. But it's all manipulation. All language is manipulation. And the only difference is that some people kind of train themselves to do it a little bit more. You train yourself to talk, right? Why did you train yourself to talk? So you can express what you want, so that people might be able to give it to you. That's what you've done as a child. Mommy, I want food. Or, that's manipulation. You've trained your voice to do certain things with it, because what are we actually doing? We're making just gibberish, like, if you think about what language really is. And you've trained yourself to talk. Like, I haven't trained myself really well, obviously, in the English language. But what is wrong with training yourself a little bit more, perhaps in a different way? And it's like they say that if you go out catching fish, you use a worm. You don't use a bologna sandwich to catch from. And that's what you kind of have to do with women when you you got to talk to them a little bit differently, because men and women are different. And I don't see what's wrong with learning a little bit more about how to communicate with women in a way that gives you a higher chance to get what you kind of want, and to make the woman feel good too. And it's the right woman. That's you have the choice of which woman you kind of do these things with. If you don't like a woman, just don't talk to her. That's how I see. Again, this for me, this is how I see PUA. I don't understand where you're getting all these ideas that PUA is so horrible and so completely against men's rights. Or it's just a skill. Again, like, it's so clear to me, and just tell me how I can kind of help express that to other issues that you've come across. Like, again, the main thing you talk about in your video is about fitting in. And I can tell you from my personal experience that pickup, all it has done, like, I'm still a fucking nerd. I've been a nerd all through high school, and had greasy pimples before and stuff. Like, okay, maybe I got a little bit healthier and I hit the gym a bit more, but I'm still a fucking nerd. Like, if you could see my room, I've got anime figurines and all this nerdy stuff in my... and all PUA has done is giving me a higher chance to attract women. And it's... PUA is about letting yourself be yourself. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about it. That's why it's crazy. It's not about, you know, getting a good career. Not that it's wrong. We never say it's wrong to do so, but it's not about being like a rock star, going out and joining the circus or something to get women. It's about learning a way. It's like, as a hobby. That's how I like to see it, and that's how you should see it. If you want to get anywhere near good at it. I mean, if you want to take it to a really high level and teach other people, it's a different story. And but at this level, it's just a hobby, and you learn to talk to women, and that's it. And the rest of your life can be absolutely the same. I mean, yeah, I'm speechless. I don't understand where people get all this hate for PUAs from. I really don't. I absolutely respect men going their own way, and I almost don't see a big difference between them and PUAs, except that PUAs just learn a little bit more, because men going their own way, as I understand it, still sleep with women. They still have sex. They just refuse to get married, and that's exactly what most PUAs want to do as well. Except PUAs maybe put a little bit of effort and more of an expression. So when a PUA wants to sees a woman and he wants to talk to them, they actually talk to them, as opposed to not expressing that urge. And like Bernard says, whenever you go away from your biology, that's when you start to suffer. So when you ignore your urge to look at a woman and or come up and talk to her, that's when you start getting into trouble. And that's when you start feeling like shit. So PUA kind of helps you, it encourages you to do so and express your true self, your true nature. Just looking at women you want to look at and talking to them. And maybe fucking them. And I'm reading some of the comments now on your videos that got the highest ratings, and they're saying stuff like heterosexuality in itself is becoming old and mundane, and that learning PUA is raising the price of pussy and is a waste of time, and a supplication that you're doing something to get women. But to that kind of stuff, first of all, to the effort part, I say, let, like Jesus said, let you who have not sinned cast the first stone. How many guys out there are doing something either directly or indirectly, even if they're not maybe consciously aware of it, to increase the chances with women, whether it's learning a musical instrument or, I mean, what I think Bernard said, but he always says that everything guys do is generally related to increasing the chances of the opposite sex, and in a way that's true. And if you go against nature, you're going against that fact. So what guys out there aren't doing something to increase their chances with women, be it making more money or learning how to dance or whatnot. And PUA is, I guess, it's a more direct way, but to do it, and you may not like the idea of it being so direct. You might like the idea that a guy should be an accountant, or I have no idea, like do some sport or something like that. But PUA has other benefits. Like, why do people do a sport? It's not because you have a practical application, unless you do it professionally. It's not like you have a practical application of throwing a ball around to another person. Like, that's not going to help you generally in real life. But you play sports because, first of all, it's fun, and PUA is hella fun. It builds a sense of community, and you meet new people. And I'll tell you now that one of the best parts about PUA isn't about picking up women. It's about going out, fucking up, and having your friend there next to you, and, making fun of it. And when you go out with somebody, that's what you do. You make fun of the situation. You kind of poke fun at each other about the crazy stuff you do together, and that's why PUA is so awesome. Getting women is like a byproduct of it. If it wasn't fun, then you're doing it wrong. You're doing PUA wrong. And there are guys who get so addicted to it that just go crazy about it. But that's no different from somebody going crazy about golf and never seeing their family ever, or getting addicted to computer games, or getting addicted. Everything has its like dark side to it. But again, in the end, it's just a skill, and that's all it is. And people will use it for good and for evil, and people will get addicted to it and go a bit nuts over it. But I mean, tell me if I'm going nuts over it or not. Again, because I'm really not liking what's going on here. Like, heterosexuality is mundane, and all this kind of stuff just seems a reverse, slowly creeping towards the reverse of what the feminists are doing. And feminists are saying, oh, all men are pigs and shouldn't talk to any of them. It seems like there's a part of the MRA, and it's gaining a lot of traction, that seems to think the same way about women. And look, I'll agree that that's why I respect men going their own way, but the majority of women are fucked up, like right now, and are not worth your time. But there are some good women out there, and that's who I want to talk to anyway. And to get to those women, usually you have to talk to a lot of women. That's why it's a numbers game as well. But they're out there, and simply finding those women is fun in itself, for me anyway. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine. But why all the hate? Help me understand, because I respect men going their own way. And if there was a vote on, I would vote for you guys, even though here you are calling me a retard. I'd cast my vote for you guys to be the president over some fucking feminist any day. But respect should really go both ways, and I'm really not feeling the respect to even guys who, like, there's guys who want to get married and take that risk, but who still fight for men's rights, actively fight for men's rights. And I don't understand why they're getting this hate, really.